Nobody ever sat down to start Crossroads work. The Begbies who began it had no intention of doing so. They found they could not stop it from starting, though, and now can't stop it from growing. During their early years in Hong Kong, the two were convinced that the world had enough worthy causes. Rather than starting any new organization, therefore, they planned to use their backgrounds in accounting and public relations, or words and numbers, as they put it, to support non-profit organizations that could not readily afford either. They did this for many years until, in 1995, they were asked to help flood victims in China. It was battling the worst floods in a century. They gathered 19 boxes of blankets and clothing from the Hong Kong community and sent them to the flood victims. Those on the other end sent detailed records of its distribution, but faced with the needs of 2 million people, they of course asked for more. The following shipments grew rapidly. Finally, the Hong Kong government said they were getting too big to continue informally and needed to register. They chose the name Crossroads, an intersection between need and resource. The Hong Kong government gave them the use of 6 rooms in an old military hospital. They were afraid that they would never fill so many rooms. Clothes and blankets poured in, though, and within 3 months they were bursting at the seams. Unexpectedly, they were given 12 baby beds, a walking frame, and a potty for children with special needs. They felt uncertain about taking goods in this new category when their storage was already at capacity. Shortly afterwards, however, they were astonished to find they were asked by an orphanage to look for beds for babies. They didn't need to look. They were already in stock. Almost immediately, another orphanage director visited looking for, would you believe it, a potty and walking frames for her special needs children. The stock was an exact match. All were amazed. The orphanage director, following her visit with the small Crossroads team, concluded, "Now that I know you have orphanage equipment, I know I can go on with my work." The Begbies smiled. It seemed they were to handle orphanage equipment as well as clothing. In time, the orphanage equipment filled a further 20 rooms. The growth story continued. As the Crossroads team prepared another orphanage donation, these orphanage directors asked them to furnish 2 apartments for their staff. To that point, Crossroads had never received furniture. The following day, however, someone offered the entire furniture from 2 apartments. The connect was clear, and from that rather extraordinary beginning came the furniture department. In time, it was to expand to fill 60 rooms. By now, space was limited, so when they were offered a load of school furniture, they hesitated. A school desperately needed them, however, so they went ahead and accepted them. As volunteers began painting, another school director asked for the same desks and chairs. The Begbies apologized, explaining that these were already promised and they would not be expecting more. This new school needed another 100 desks and chairs. 2 weeks later, they asked a school to collect baby bottles for Crossroads. This school did not have the time to do so, but they did surprisingly offer 100 desks and 100 chairs. It was a match. That then began the educational furniture department, which in time grew to fill 30 rooms. Although they knew of medical need in Asia, they had little medical equipment on offer when a doctor asked Crossroads to help him open a series of hospitals. Amazingly, 5 days later, a hospital donated truckloads of equipment, and hospitals have continued to do so ever since. And the story did not end there. Although a few computers had trickled in, Crossroads did not have a sizable computer department. A bank offered 300 CPUs, but apologized as they were not upgrading their monitors. Shortly after, however, a brokerage rang, also apologizing. They were only offering 300 monitors, but no CPUs. It wasn't hard to do the maths. Soon, computers became an ongoing part of the work. Yet another department was added. They could not, it seemed, stop the generosity of Hong Kong. And more departments opened, and more, until today, Crossroads Global Distribution has these departments. Crossroads receives requests for these goods from all over the world. About half their goods are distributed internationally, and the other half locally, inside Hong Kong. And who receives these goods? Orphans, the elderly, the handicapped, the poor, refugees, disaster victims, the unemployed, and those serving educational and medical need. And how do these goods come to Crossroads? Who gives them? 5-star hotels, hospitals, banks, consulates, manufacturers, and even private individuals. It is extraordinary to see over 2,000 companies and community groups now partnering with Crossroads. So very much is manufactured in China these days that goods pour into Crossroads' warehouse. It is these partnerships that help establish Crossroads' global distribution program, along with the other global areas that followed. Many companies today, particularly those who embrace corporate social responsibility, want to make partnerships to help global need. It was this that birthed our next global hand. Although companies were keen to partner, they had difficulty finding a match. So, Crossroads built a website to help both sides connect. They can partner through this website in all kinds of ways, from microcredit to business solutions for the poor, from disaster relief to long-term poverty alleviation, from fair trade to gifts in kind, from advocacy to funding. The website offers to inspire those looking for ideas by searching offers and needs, looking at guidelines and best practice, reading case studies, digging out relevant information from the thousands of library entries, and more. It also invites people to make an offer or a request according to their partnering needs. In today's environment, with the increased interest of the private sector in global issues, the United Nations also wants to partner with corporations around the world. Global Hand has therefore built a special version of its software, pro bono, for the UN to use. The problem for businesses when they try to partner with the United Nations is that they often don't know which of the many branches of the UN they should partner with. So, the goal of the Global Hand platform is to match them up online. The screens look like the UN, but the engine underneath is Global Hand. If a match can be made within the United Nations, all will be happy. If they cannot find a fit, though, the business companies will be asked if they would like to pass on the offer through Global Hand to others around the world, so that no goodwill is wasted. Global Hand has grown in ways that have surprised all, though its basic goal has remained the same: to bring partners together in a broken world so that suffering can be alleviated and global challenges addressed. A third global is Global Handicrafts, a marketplace that sells goods made by people living in poverty who are trying to earn a way out of their difficult circumstances. It recreates markets from all major continents. Rich in color and ethnic design, it showcases villagers' produce from around the globe. The overriding goal is to give a fair deal to the people who grew or made these items, as they are often the most vulnerable in the supply chain. Crossroads is committed to the support of social entrepreneurship and sustainable solutions to poverty. To that end, Global Handicrafts has developed its own set of guidelines to ensure the poor benefit properly. Here are just a few of the items in the marketplace. It offers hundreds of products from dozens of countries. The items include jewelry, carvings, bags, scarves, toys, lacquerware, ceramics, stationery, soap, music, candles, home decor, international crafts, coffees and teas, spices, cereals, dried fruits, and even chocolate. Crossroads also has a cafe with beverages bought on a fair trade basis, benefiting the farmers who grew them. They call it the Silk Road Cafe, basing it on the ethnic traditions of Central Asia, where their other base is located. Global Handicrafts, then, the third global area, is a crossroads between those needing a fair income and those with the buying power to provide it. The fourth global is a crossroads between the lifestyles of the rich and poor. They call it the global village. It grew from the idea that, as the ancient proverb puts it, when one does something, one understands it better. Or, as is often expressed, I cannot understand a man until I have walked a mile in his shoes. This global took Crossroads by surprise. In 2005, Crossroads held a 10-year anniversary and invited business and community leaders to live in poverty for 24 hours. They never planned to repeat this activity, but after 24 hours, the participants said, "Please, keep doing this. It's more powerful than anything we've experienced before." Education institutions, the young and old, all said the same thing, asking if they too could do simulation activities. So did community groups. A whole department and a menu of options has since been developed, with over 40,000 participants having experienced global need of various forms. Manual labor, for example, and the huge battle for survival among the poor is one topic explored through these activities. Hunger is another. War and the plight of refugees is a third. One executive participant in this experience later said, "There are 3 days in my life I will never forget. The day I was married, the day I became a father, and the day I did this experience." In recent times, Crossroads partnered with the United Nations to take this refugee simulation to Davos, Switzerland, for the World Economic Forum. Participants included the UN Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon, British tycoon, Sir Richard Branson, along with the heads of Nike, Manpower, Gucci, and Facebook and Wikipedia. Crossroads also offers experiences on the battle faced by those in poor countries when they try to break out of poverty by doing global business. Environmental challenges and their impact on the poor are also explored, as is HIV and AIDS. There is even an experience that allows participants the opportunity to live without sight for an hour. Specially written music can accompany these experiences. Crossroads singer-songwriter Helen Motti writes about global need in a way that impacts participants and helps them debrief about their simulated experiences of world need. Where do all the different aspects of Crossroads work take place? They have an office in Kazakhstan serving the Central Asian region. They have another office in the UK serving it and Europe, but the headquarters is in Hong Kong. The Hong Kong location has changed several times. It started in a tiny building, but as they grew, the government moved Crossroads to the old Hong Kong airport, where it had 95,000 square feet in a basement and 65,000 square feet on the former runway. Crossroads paid $1 for each. The government then moved them again to where they are today, a site that has 40 buildings on 14 acres. Compared to the building where they first started, if reduced to scale, the current property reflects the growth they have seen. And tomorrow, Crossroads hopes to develop this site into a global village. Its goal will be to present in the microcosm of a village the macrocosm of world need. So, for example, if guests were to visit, say, the school, they would see educational needs. In the clinic, medical needs. In the war zone, refugee needs, etc. It would be a place where all four globals came together in a coordinated way. This environment would offer visitors a chance to meet global needs and solutions firsthand. Visitors could encounter the needs through the experiences and/or participate in solutions by helping with global distribution, partnering through Global Hand, or simply shopping at Global Handicrafts. And the people doing this work? Who makes up the Crossroads team? Well, originally, Crossroads started with just a couple. Then it grew, and grew, and grew. And today, it looks like this. The team, all full-time volunteers. As they step into the future, though, Crossroads is looking for more people. People of many kinds. People who would like to work in their fair trade outlets. People who can help with their life experience activities. People who are trained in design skills. People gifted in communications. People with administration strengths. People who can assist with their warehousing operation. People who are computer specialists and IT gurus. People with training in human resources or team care. And even people with handyman gifts. This, then, is the Crossroads Foundation, an organization that, as we said at the start, nobody planned to happen, but one which seemed to have a life of its own and which has now grown to provide 4 global areas, helping to connect need and resource. As Crossroads puts it, we live in a broken world where too many lives have been torn apart. Too much need has been neglected or forgotten, and too many people are suffering more than they should. Our role is to bring the right people together to bring change. If you are one of those people, or you can support someone who might be, please let us know. We look forward to working with you to help reconnect our broken world.